I want to be very clear with you, Governor. You do scare us a bit, but it's not because you can fix a truck or change a tire. It's actually because of your radical left-wing agenda. You supported putting tampons in boys' bathrooms. You advocated for the disarming of Americans of their Second Amendment rights. You're pro-sanctuary city, as we have uncovered here today. You claim there is no guarantee to free speech when it comes to misinformation and hate speech.
This wasn't a debate, it was an accusation. Eli Crane looked the governor of Minnesota in the eye and said, "You were lying to Congress." What you are about to hear is not just a heated moment between Congressman Eli Crane and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. It is a case study in how America's border debate has expanded far beyond the border itself.
Governor Walz, you stated in your opening statement the following: "But nothing Minnesota has done stands in the way of federal government managing its border security policy."
Okay.
Governor, I want to ask you, why are you lying to this committee?
I am not.
Who's the top law enforcement officer in the state of Minnesota?
The top law enforcement officer? Attorney General.
Yeah, that's right. What's his name? What's his name?
Are you asking me, do you know his name?
You know his name. Do you know his name?
I know the AG Ellison.
This is an article right here I'd like to submit for the record. Minnesota AG says will not enforce federal immigration laws as DOJ threatens to prosecute officials who resist.
Without objection to ordered.
Why are you lying to this committee? That is the top law enforcement officer in your state who's saying he will not comply with the federal government.
Nothing in his opinion changes the fact that state law requires all state and county officials to ask for immigration status when a convicted felon is
No,
committed.
I'm sorry, Governor. He is saying he will not comply with federal laws. That's your top law
Nothing in this
enforcement
opinion
officer.
changes how
You're
we-
lying and misrepresenting yourself to this committee. Now I want to ask you this. Do you think in that line of questioning, free health care, food assistance, free college tuition, driver's licenses, and cash assistance, do you think that that's helping or hurting this government manage its border security and policy?
Well, Minnesota ranks first in health care. We rank third in safety on our roads.
Let me answer that for you. It's actually hurting because what you've
making my state
created
safer
is
and more
you've created a
prosperous.
state that is now a magnet that is
There's
drawing
no law.
illegals
There is no sanctuary
to
law in
Minnesota.
Minnesota, Congress.
I know you guys haven't put it that way on the books, but your state has everything, every element in it that is consistent with the sanctuary state.
That's
Moving
incorrect.
on, Mr. Walz. How about you calling ICE agents modern-day Gestapo? That also stands. Do you think that helps our federal government carry out its law enforcement?
I think best
border
practices in law
security
enforcement
policies?
by identifying who you are, identifying the vehicles, and making sure everyone has due process helps our law enforcement. I think covering your faces.
So you think that
rolling in there-
you think that helps calling our law enforcement agents that? What does ICE stand for, Governor? Immigration, custom, enforcement, right? These are the guys that are tasked with enforcing immigration, federal
That's
immigration
right.
laws?
Federal. That's their job. It's
So
not
you
the
think
state's
that
job.
calling them Gestapo is helping? You're not standing in the way. None of the messaging, none of the rhetoric is standing in the way of this administration doing what they've been tasked to do. Is that what you're saying?
I think what would help them is to follow due process, and when they do these missions, do the things that we expect of law enforcement.
How about when you
Identify-
went on Anderson Cooper, Governor Walz, and you said, how high is this wall? If it's 25 feet, then I'll invest in a 30-foot ladder factory. Do you think that helps our federal government carry out its law enforcement, its border security and policy operations?
When did I say that?
You went on Anderson Cooper and said that. Do you not remember saying that? Because you've said so many outlandish things that you can't even keep track of them?
The point being is...
The clip is there for everybody. It's there for all Americans. If you guys want to go watch it, it's an easy Google. All right. Governor, you recently went on Gavin Newsom's podcast. You stated in regards to MAGA voters, I scare them a little bit, which is why they spend so much time on me. No, I'm serious because they know I can fix a truck. That's your direct quote. You also said on the show, I think I could kick most of their asses. I want to be very clear with you, Governor. You do scare us a bit, but it's not because you can fix a truck or change a tire. It's actually because of your radical left-wing agenda. You supported putting tampons in boys' bathrooms. You advocated for the disarming of Americans of their Second Amendment rights. You're pro-sanctuary city, as we have uncovered here today. You claim there is no guarantee to free speech when it comes to misinformation and hate speech. That right there is why the American people have such a hard time with you. It's not because we're crazy MAGA people. It's because of your radical left-wing agenda. I want to ask you on that last one where you claim there's no guarantee to free speech. Did you pick that up on one of your 30 trips to communist China, Governor? That sounds a lot like something that they would do. Yes or no?
So I don't believe hate speech has
Okay.
a place in there. Hate speech that incites violence.
Governor Walz, you said that Kamala Harris picked you for vice president to code talk to white guys. How did that work out for this administration? How well did you do with white guys?
I don't have the
You
data.
lost by 22 points to white guys. And it's because you talk like the way you do, you say the things you do, and you have this radical left-wing ideology. So if you want to continue that rhetoric, go on, brother. Keep doing it. We'll keep destroying you in elections.
And the
Thank you,
people
and I
of
yield back.
The people of Minnesota will continue to have me serve them.
Before we get into the substance, take a second to subscribe to the channel. These breakdowns are designed to help you understand what's really happening behind the headlines, not just replay the clip. Under the Constitution, immigration enforcement is primarily a federal responsibility. States cannot set their own immigration policy, but they also cannot be forced to carry out federal enforcement actions unless required by law. That gray area is exactly where this fight lives. Crane framed Ellison's stance as outright defiance of federal law. Walz countered by arguing that Minnesota law still requires cooperation in specific criminal cases, particularly involving convicted felons. What viewers may miss is that both claims can technically coexist. A state can refuse broad cooperation with ICE while still mandating limited information sharing under certain circumstances. The political fight is not over legality alone, it is over intent. Crane argues that Minnesota's posture sends a message that discourages enforcement. Walz's defense is that due process and state law are still being followed. If this kind of deep dive matters to you, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future coverage. The hearing then shifted from law to incentives. Crane listed state benefits available regardless of immigration status, including health care access, food assistance, in-state tuition, driver's licenses, and cash aid. His claim was blunt. These policies, taken together, function as a magnet. Walz responded by highlighting Minnesota's national rankings in healthcare and social outcomes, reframing the issue as one of public well-being rather than border security. Here is the larger lesson for viewers. Immigration debates today are less about fences and more about systems. When states expand social services inclusively, supporters see stability and integration. Critics see pull factors. There is no federal consensus on where that line should be drawn, and Congress has largely left the conflict unresolved. That vacuum pushes these arguments into hearings like this one. The exchange escalated further when Crane brought up Walz's past rhetoric about ICE agents, including comparisons that critics say demonize federal law enforcement. Walz pushed back by arguing that transparency and due process make policing safer for everyone. This moment matters because language from elected officials shapes public trust. Whether one agrees with Walz or not, calling federal agents anything resembling secret police imagery hardens divisions and fuels distrust at a time when immigration enforcement already carries high risk and high emotion. If you value context over chaos, subscribe now so you can keep learning with us. The most personal moment came near the end, when Crane cited Walz's past media appearances and comments about political opponents, framing them as evidence of radical ideology and cultural hostility. He tied those remarks to broader concerns about free speech, gun rights, and government power. Walz responded by rejecting hate speech that incites violence, a position that opens another unresolved national debate. Where does protected speech end and public harm begin? This exchange was not about winning the room. It was about defining narratives for voters watching at home. Crane presented Walz as emblematic of a progressive agenda that weakens borders and erodes constitutional rights. Walz positioned himself as a governor focused on governance, due process, and public outcomes rather than federal theatrics. What viewers should take away is this: immigration is no longer a single issue. It is a convergence point for law, culture, federalism, and identity politics. Hearings like this are less about changing minds in the room and more about shaping how millions of Americans interpret responsibility, authority, and trust in government. If this breakdown helped you understand the moment more clearly, subscribe to the channel and stay with us. We will keep cutting through the noise and bringing you the context that matters.